Dave, we get a chance to play Jaws a little today because there have been more shark attacks in Florida. In fact, 3 swimmers, including 2 teenagers, attacked by sharks in 2 separate incidents. Beaches in Walton County, Florida, on Friday. This is the Panhandle.
Yeah, this
Yet
is
again.
going
Remember
on
the other
here.
day you were surprised that
Near Pensacola or something?
the Gulf area of Florida, not the Atlantic beaches of Florida.
Food's better there.
Well, apparently the sharks are cruising around there right now.
Yeah.
A 45-year-old woman was swimming just past a sandbar with her husband at Watersound Beach when she was bitten by a shark at 120 South Walton Fire District, chief says. And she had significant trauma to her midsection, had to have surgery, but is going to survive. Then, 90 minutes later at Seacrest Beach, 4 miles away, a 15-year-old and a 17-year-old girl were with a group of friends near a sandbar in waist-deep water, injured by a shark. One of the teens lost her hand and part of her leg.
There's no shark accident.
I'll tell you this. They closed the beaches.
It's just before July 4th.
The beaches will be open on 4th of July.
Fort Walton, as you know, means friendship.
That's right. So, experts are saying, nothing to see here. It's no big deal.
Do we know the types of shark that bit the people?
They don't know. They just said
The hungry type.
In fact, they don't even know if it's 3 different sharks or just one shark.
No, it's not one shark. Get out of here.
Well, the 2 teens were right around each other, but they were a few minutes apart. They think it might have been 2 different sharks.
Yes.
They don't know.
Yeah, they come cruising.
Apparently. And they were saying, they asked one guy, is it the warm waters, is it the rising sea temperatures? And he said, no, it's like they may be closer to us now because of warm waters, but they always come in shallow to feed.
Yeah.
It's like 4 to 6 feet of water. So it's like, it's always been this
Plus,
way.
there's more people in the water.
Do you think so?
The beaches are busy.
You think so?
Yes, I think there's more people.
I think stories like this keep people out of the water.
Oh, well, it may keep people out of the water, but I'm saying there are more people at the beach.
Yeah. Than there were 25 years ago?
Well, I think just as many or more, yes.
Perhaps. Well, they closed the beaches for a day, but now they have reopened the beaches. Yeah. And they've said, swim at your own risk, but
it's usually very clear water. I mean, if you've got a decent vantage point, I'm surprised there aren't more drones. Just kind of patrolling the water, because you should be able to see the shapes.
Yeah, if I was a city,
if you're a lifeguard,
if I was a beach town, I would hire a drone company and say,
fleet of drones.
Can you run these from sun up to sundown?
Yeah, you build your shark spotters up on the those towers.
Yeah, we can do better now.
You don't. It's cheaper with a drone.
Yes.
And I have a feeling that those sharks are a lot closer than you want. That's why they don't do drones.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, well, they don't want to show.
They don't want to show because I think the sea life is much closer than people want to think or realize.
You may be right there, Biggie.
The last shark-related fatality in this particular county in Florida was 2005, so it's been a good time.
Fatality.
They had a fatality in 2005. Someone was bitten and
bled out
there and the one of the teenagers, the one that lost her hand and part of her leg, they said she lost half her blood. I mean, it was a big. They had to save her life, and they did the surgery, and she opened her eyes and said, "Oh, I made it." I mean, she really thought it might not work. I mean, you're 15 years old or whatever, you know.
That's sad.
I don't know how I got. Oh, I know how I got onto this. My daughter and we went to the pool over the weekend, and they had written the pool water temperature at 76 degrees. They wrote it on a whiteboard.
That's nice.
It was pretty nice. They had
Is that one of those things where they put the lifeguard's name?
Yeah.
Okay.
All that, and they said,
I've seen some similar signs.
Forecast and lifeguards' names and water temperature is 76 degrees. And so we got in the water. It was a little chilly, at 76 for me.
Sure.
You know me, I thin blood.
Solar heated takes a while.
Right.
Later part of the day, the warmer the water is.
So my daughter said, what was the temperature of the Titanic water when the Titanic went down? What do you think it was? I looked it up.
I would say right around freezing, maybe a couple degrees above. You know who said that? Jack.
Did he say that?
Yeah, when she's standing on the back of the ship, she's like that. He's like, that water's cold. She says it's cold. He's like, how cold?
Yeah.
He said freezing, maybe a couple degrees above.
28 degrees is what the water. Now I was in 76 and shivering.
Oh, that's it.
Okay. 28.
That's how I like it.
28 degrees is what most. So I went ahead and
did you exit?
Yeah. I
wrapped up in a towel.
I got out of the water and I said I just can't stand this. It's too cold for me. But I looked it up later. It was 28 degrees. And great factoid about Titanic, too.
This may be the first time, Biggie, maybe you can correct me on this, but this might be the first time that these two have done Jaws segueing right into the Titanic.
Yeah, we played Jaws and Titanic.
I don't think it's ever happened quite like that.
Barry, you're talking about sharks. We're back to playing Jaws. Go ahead.
I used to work for a crane company down in Myrtle Beach. We had a lot of tower cranes.
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling Biggie, you'd be very surprised when you're 15, 20 stories up, looking out there at the water, what you see swimming around. I'm talking about in abundance, not one here, one there. They're always. That's why I don't swim in the ocean, man. I will not get in the ocean.
Amen, brother. Yeah. I haven't been in the ocean in a while.
I won't get in a lake.
I don't blame you.
What, lake shark?
You're land shark, lake shark.
Well, that or Loch Ness.
Yeah, right. Well, all of it.
You get those animals.
Thank you, Barry.
Well, it sounds like that 76-degree pool's going to be busy.
Well, yeah, I'm back in
If you're not jumping in the ocean, he ain't jumping in the lake.
I ain't jumping in the ocean.
But think about when you're at the beach. I mean, there are more people on the beach than there are in the water, typically. Wouldn't you say?
Oh, I agree.
I mean, miles.
There's a lot of people that do not get in the water.
No.
They just don't.
No. Mrs. Demm doesn't.
She doesn't?
Never, ever.
Well, I get in for a little bit.
What? Yeah.
When he's had a little...
Everybody got to pee.
He used to offload some Coors Light.
A little too much to drink.
White Claw.
Suddenly, you got to get out
The
there.
wheels are in motion.
You've had a Diet Coke or a Celsius in the morning, and then you have a few White
really
Claw.
hydrated.
Yeah, feeling good.
Well, A-Train doesn't get in, does she?
Never.
Yeah.
And if she does...
The sharks leave. The ocean gets cold when she gets in.
Listen, if she was in that 28-degree water, she'd be like, this is nice.
Wish we had this at the house.
I can get used to this.
This is
we should get one of these.
Gets in, splashes her face. Oh, this is good.
Let me tell you something about Titanic. When my daughter asked me the temperature of the water in Titanic, and I looked it up, I read a story about a guy on Titanic, and I had never read this before. And I thought, oh, man, Dave and I can play Titanic on this. In the movie, do you recall at the end when Jack and Rose are standing on the very bottom of the boat and it goes up in there's a man standing next to them who's drinking from a flask.
Yeah.
You remember that guy?
Yeah.
And he's dressed like in all white.
Yeah.
And I've never really thought much about it, but he's there. He's from white from head to toe. Well, that was a representation of a guy who was actually on Titanic. His name was Charles Joughin, like Jougin or Ghin. And so the cold water segued into his story. He was the chief baker. He was the chef, the baking chef.
That's right. He had a chef's suit on.
Yes. So he has a chef's suit on. When when Titanic hit the iceberg and it became apparent it was going to sink, he did two things. He went and threw 50 or so deck chairs into the water, hoping that they would be flotation devices for people because he knew it was going down and he knew he wasn't getting off. And then he decided to go to the very back of the boat, as Jack and Rose did. So that's real. That he was the only one who got on the other side of the railing to be outside of, as the last person.
So when it's standing upright.
Correct.
He was at the top of the
building.
The stern.
He is known as the last person to go into the water because he really did that. And the other thing he did was
got drunk.
He had access to the kitchen. He got drunk. He put a bunch of liquor into that flask, and he drank it the entire time the boat was sinking, the 2 hours. He kept drinking from that flask. He's like, I was drunk as a skunk.
David, your new favorite character.
Okay. Listen to this, though.
I need to be a baker.
When he went into the water, unlike in the movie where they got dragged down way below the surface, he's like, my hair didn't even get wet. He said he went safely in, and he treaded water for 90 minutes and survived.
Wow.
And the boats came back for him. I think there were like 3 people they came back for. The boat came back. He treaded water for between 90 minutes and 2 hours.
In 28-degree water.
28-degree water. Most people were dead within 15 minutes.
Yeah, hypothermia.
And he firmly believes it was the liquor that saved his life.
Yeah, in his mind.
And he's what he said? And in interviews after, he's like, wasn't even that cold.
Oh, my
God. Literally, that was the quote. This guy, Charles Joughin.
I never heard this story.
I hadn't either. I read it. I was like, are you kidding? So I looked up his whole life. He lived another 46 years. He died in his late 70s.
Wow.
And he was 32 at the time. And he went in, and the only thing that happened was they got him back on the boat. They had to treat him once the Carpathia picked him up, and his feet were swollen from the cold water. But he's like, it wasn't even that bad.
So he lived in the 1950s.
Yeah, he lived till 56 or 58. I believe 58. 1958.
Crazy.
He had pneumonia in 58 as a 70-something-year-old man.
Ironic.
And he said, it didn't feel that cold. And he said, I'm so glad I got drunk.
He's right.
Because if I hadn't gotten drunk, I would have probably froze to death like everybody else.
If you look at the movie, is there a guy in a white jacket on the back.
Yeah, that's it.
That's him.
That's him. That's what. Yeah, they are. If you watch the movie, when Jack and Rose are standing there and it's getting ready to go, she looks over and there's a guy in white.
Just the three of them.
Yes, just the three of them, and he takes a drink out of the flask.
Well, I thought you said it was underneath when they were still below.
No, he went and got it and then went with it. But in real life, he was there. And in the movie, she looks over at him, and they're holding on, and I think he even offers her some, doesn't he? And she turns it down.
Yeah.
But he's drinking from it. And he said,
there's that pretty girl hanging from the railing.
Yeah.
And then she
had to drop, yeah. But he was on the outside, and that really is where he was. They pepper that into that movie, apparently, like real people that were there.
That's your boy, James Cameron.
That's James Cameron.
Who?
That's James Cameron. James Cameron doesn't miss a trick.
His name is James
His
Cameron.
name is James Cameron, and you will find...
His name is James Cameron, the bravest pioneer. No budget too steep, no sea too deep. Who's that? It's him, James Cameron. James Cameron, explorer of the sea, with a dying thirst to be the first. Could it be? Yeah, it's him, James Cameron.
I had never... That was the... Now, I thought I knew everything there was to know about Titanic.
Absolutely.
I've been to Pigeon Forge.
Well,
that's where Titanic Museum is. I've been to Pigeon Forge.
yeah.
I've been to the beach.
Okay, but this...
I've been to Little Rock.
Okay.
If you go late at night, you'll find a drunk chef sitting on top
They should do that.
of the Titanic.
Is there,
Yeah.
is there a floon ride at
there
Dollywood?
there should
put,
be.
Put a chef on the back
Put
of
him on
each
the
one.
back of it.
He's just left Paula Dean's.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Oh, man.
That's a great story.
I couldn't wait to get in here and tell you.
Now it makes me wonder if that pretty girl hanging was
real
somebody
too.
too.
She might have been too. Who
Based
knows?
on a story.
Maybe.
She died though.
Oh, yeah, she did.